Hello!
And welcome back to Sini
With me, Hannah.
and me, Nadine. How are you doing this morning, Sise?
I am feeling a bit heavy.
Okay.
Kayaknya memang kita semua semalam agak susah tidur memikirkan topik yang kita akan bahas hari ini. Yes.
Agak berat ya. So,
Yes.
Sini sis, we are going to accept today the fact that we are daughters.
Jeng jeng jeng.
Take that. Take that. Take that. Big girl, when I come take that.
Okay, basically aku tuh kayak sering banget di Instagram kan ada kayak eldest daughter stuff that comes up gitu kan. Dan itu sesuatu yang mungkin bukan, if it wasn't for the memes, I wouldn't know that it was a thing. But interestingly, I found a very interesting article on Vogue India. Eldest daughter syndrome is affecting more than your mind. Is being the eldest daughter bad for your health, girl?
Oh, damn.
We were united by our soaring cortisol level, looming threat of diabetes, blood pressure, frequent fluctuations in weight, stress eating, and the biggest of them all, a perpetual feeling of burnout due to hitting caregiving fatigue.
That is a deep one.
I can already see so many of our friends watching this going.
Yes. I feel like I am not myself an eldest daughter. I am the youngest daughter, but I think I felt like an only child.
Yes.
And I think I relate to what you're saying, but my experience was about being a parentified daughter. Or a parentified child. But I think there's overlaps in terms of what it was like to navigate that.
Yeah, because we both, like, I am not the eldest, but I am the eldest daughter because I am the only daughter and I'm a middle child. So I think like it's always like the placement of where you are within your siblings creates all its own kind of dynamics.
Yeah.
And then being the only girls within just the one boy and one girl, or being the only girl di kepung dua, it's like the dynamics are incredible. But tell me a bit more about like what is a parentified child? Like what does that mean?
Well, a parentified child essentially like you get, as a child, you're supposed to have a childhood and you're supposed to remain within that childlike kind of like mentality. But then you're put through like emotional burdens that are way bigger than your age and like way bigger than your nervous system to cope with, way bigger than your ability to like understand and cope with the situations. In my case, it was because my mom, she needed emotional support, which she wasn't getting from her partner. And so she relied on me heavily to provide that emotional support. So starting at 9 years old, my brother left to the UK. Dan dari itu gue merasa kayak harus menjaga the emotional stability at home, which is a big task for a little 9-year-old.
How old were you? 9?
Starting from earlier, but like it really became solidified pas gue umur 9 tahun terus kayak berasa jadi only child. Especially at the time kayak kakak gue sekolah di luar negeri, ketemu dia mungkin setahun sekali doang gitu kan.
Yeah.
So he was like very much away from that. Well, what about you? What was it like being an eldest daughter?
Well, the only daughter.
Only daughter.
Babu. Aku jadi babu. Apa ya, gue ngerasa ada banyak sekali pressure sih menjadi only girl dalam sebuah keluarga yang memang sangat male dominated gitu. Dan apa ya, memang kayak in the end, my mom only had me in terms of like helping, I think. Karena kan, this is not to say that like the boys didn't do anything, but y'all really didn't do anything. Tapi kayak memang, apa ya, kita semua, especially like in our adulthood, we end up serving like our own functions. Tapi gue inget banget waktu kecil tuh kayak, gue yang kerjain semua gitu. Karena nyokap kerjain semua. So it was kind of like a generational trauma kind of thing, where it was my mom doing everything. And then because I was the daughter and the only daughter, I ended up doing all of that kind of stuff. And I remember always growing up thinking kayak, ini nggak adil, kenapa sih kayak gini, kenapa dibedain gitu. Apalagi soal hal-hal domestik. Jadi kayak gue bisa ngelihat misalnya kayak bokap gue hanya akan minta dibuatin kopi sama gue. And I'm like, why don't abang do it? He's like, no, you make it the best. And I'm like, is it I'm making it the best? Or is it just like, you're the girl and you should do it gitu. Tapi I think like, why I want to talk about daughters in general, and I know it's going to be a heavy topic for us, is I think we do have like this collective grief from the pressure of being one.
And collective trauma.
And collective trauma. And I feel like especially in our friendships, like the friendship that we have, so much so of like our experiences are based around being a daughter, because you know we talk a lot about our parents or our family and this and that, but also like with our extended friend group, there's a lot of us who feel the same pressure, dan gue yakin teman-teman yang nonton juga pasti banyak yang merasakan hal yang sama gitu.
Yep.
So like this injustice and like fatigue, how do you think like it manifests? Karena kalau buat gue tuh kayak pertama itu kayak hal-hal domestik di rumah tuh gue selalu capek, gue yang kerjain semuanya. And it was so funny in preparing for this episode, I was talking to Patty last night, our producer, and like I was literally on my computer and I was like, my little brother just asked me to do this, and then like my older brother asked me to do this kemarin, and I was on the phone, like when we were having like our break after shooting, I was on the phone with my mom, and it was like a catch up, but then it was like, oh babe, we have to do this, and I'm just like, ini kapan, kayak gue nggak pernah ngerasa bisa ada me time, because it's always like I'm always having to do something.
You're being pulled in so many different directions and like being
Yes.
needed.
That's always a thing that I feel, but equally, as the only girl, I've always felt this pressure of like, jaga nama baik keluarga.
Interesting.
And I feel like, I don't know if it's like a
I never had
cult-
that.
You never had that? I don't know if it's maybe like a very heavily
Cultural.
cultural thing,
Yeah.
mungkin gitu with my father, but I always felt that it was directed more at me than my brothers. As if like the responsibility of the morality of this family is dependent on what I do as a woman and what I do as a girl.
I'm just listening to you like list out all the different things that you've experienced. I'm feeling such a heavy burden on my shoulders, and I'm not the one going through it. Like, that's a lot. That's a lot to put on the shoulders of a young girl.
It's weird though, because then like maybe again the eldest daughter in me is like, is it a lot or can I just handle it? But that's the problem, right?
Yeah.
We shouldn't have to
Yeah.
handle it. Kalau dari lo gimana?
Yeah, I mean, like, again, it was just being put in this position of having to be the parent, essentially, right? Like, even though I wasn't taking care of my mom necessarily in like I didn't have to be a caregiver to like her physically or like her health. She was like well, right? But secara emosional, I had to grow up really, really quickly untuk bisa kayak menampung semua emotional burden-nya nyokap gue gitu. And like, I grew up in an extremely chaotic and volatile and violent household, which it was crap. This is what we were worried about. No, but I feel I can really feel like my inner child just like I guess like struggle in this moment, you know, because trauma response.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just hard, you know. She was.
I love you.
I wasn't expecting this.
No, but it's okay. Because like, that's the whole point, right? Like, we've had so many of these experiences intimately as individuals, and the fact that you're brave enough to share that to other people and put yourself out on the line, not just to get it out, but to help others, is a beautiful thing, and I hope you hold on to that.
Oh, you guys, I'm gonna cry more. No, it's okay. I'm okay. I'm okay to go. I'm okay to push. I don't want to push through it, but I'm happy to like excavate it as it comes up. But yeah, it was extremely hard, you know, for me. I felt very alone as like a little girl, and like I just have this like what's popping into my head right now. It's making me really sad and make me feel a lot of grief. Is like gue bisa ngeliat kayak muka gue ketika gue masih kecil gitu, as like a little girl, and it's like she didn't know anything. She was just trying to like, as kids, of course, kita lahir di dunia ini dan nggak ngerti apa-apa gitu kan. Kita cuma ngerti yang ada di lingkungan kita dan yang kita alami secara langsung gitu. And I just see her big eyes and I'm like, this poor little girl, she was so scared. And she was perpetually terrified. And my mom's like well-being and like safety was always on the line. Dan yang harus menjaga itu atau ngerasa punya responsibility untuk menjaga nyokap gue adalah gue gitu. And that's a massive thing to put on a kid. Which is why now I have CPTSD, by the way. So I mean, cracking jokes.
There's me thinking of a way to like segue into a joke, but you did it for me, so thank you very much.
Defense mechanisms.
You're not showing us anything, babe. That was the joke. joke. That was the joke that we needed. Thank you. Our producer there, like, no, there's nothing
reminding
there.
us, but it's just like a blank slate.
Me listening to you like blank.
But yeah, so
Yeah.
essentially, like, what I had to be was a peacekeeper.
Yeah.
And like, those are just some really, really big things to put on a kid. And I feel like di sini dan all over the world, ini bukan experience yang uncommon, unfortunately, which is really, really heartbreaking.
This is one thing that I've come to realize setelah mungkin karena algoritma gue ya, kayak the minute you like something about like being an eldest daughter, suddenly you get bombarded with it. But suddenly it's like there's this realization of, kau nggak sendiri ya, kayaknya banyak sekali orang yang merasakan
Who's
itu.
making this content? Berarti kan,
Who's making this content gitu? And
yeah.
some of the content is hilarious, but
Yeah.
some of it also hits you like a truck.
But this is the thing, right? So like, I find that in helping me kind of heal now is seeing a lot of this content and realizing like I'm not alone. And I remember waktu itu gue pernah baca quote by Rose Brick, and she says something. She says, as a woman, I have so much empathy for my mother, but as a daughter, I have so much anger. Dan gue ingat pertama kali gue baca itu, gue ngerasa kayak, ya ini, kayak ditonjok in the gut, and I was like,
Do you know what? Like,
mate.
it's one of these things, right, where like our mothers have been through it.
Yeah.
And yes, there's a lot of anger because as a byproduct, we then have been through it. Because as the daughters, we are most linked to them potentially, or we are most seen with them, or this is just a biological and generational thing where it's just like this natural progression kan gitu. Cuman kayak, when I look at my mom, for me, like, I rate my mom so much and I love my mumsy so much.
Yeah.
And I'm willing to help her with everything. But I'd also that also does coexist with these feelings of recognizing how tired I am and how like there's this cycle that I do want to break.
Yeah.
And it's about kind of like learning these tools and how to do it. And it's so interesting karena kan, lo perhatiin gak sih sebenarnya sebagai kayak daughters atau like the kind of like eldest daughter vibes we still have, although we are not like the eldest because like you know, like we are the first daughters of our families. Tapi kayak kita gravitate mulu towards perempuan eldest daughters. Lo perhatiin gak?
Yeah, and I feel like it's because real recognize real. You know, we're like, I see you. I don't know specifically your struggles, but I see you,
sis. I see you, sis. You know what's the most hilarious thing? Oh, should I share this or not?
At this point.
But it's so funny because like
What is this?
no, am I exposing myself?
This episode is emotion.
Yeah, no, it's like gini deh kayak it's so funny how like interacting with someone who I'm very, very close to, who if I like complain to him about all of this kind of stuff, and then he's like, "Don't worry," like he's like, "Oh, you're exactly like my sister, who's the eldest daughter," and because he's the youngest, he's like, "No, don't worry. If we get together, you can be like young person, like you can be young sibling energy," and I'm like, my pride, I'm like, I don't want to be on young sibling energy. You're our producer. Don't. And I'm like, and it just made me laugh because I was
sibling.
like, I'm so no, but you see, your youngest sibling,
I'm
but like,
parentified.
you're parentified, so it's different. You know? And so it's like, I was like, that is hilarious because however much I want to relax, I also don't want to be like the baby who does nothing. I can't. It's like it's not in my DNA. But I saw this thing, so I wanted to talk about like how all of these things of like how we experience as daughters and at that young age manifest in our adult life.
Yeah.
And so I saw again memes because like that is our daily brand. And so I saw like this eldest daughter core image. And so one of like how that manifests into my adult relationships, it says, bring an I can do it myself vibe to every relationship. And let me tell you, sis, the way that I've gone into most of my relationships being like the chill girl that doesn't need anything. It's like, and especially like
I'm the cool girl.
yeah, like, oh, nggak repot, easy, like, oh, I don't need you to do anything. I'm easily pleased, ini segala macam. But you know what that leads to? One, it's because I can do everything myself because that's how I've been trained as a daughter in my family to depend on myself and do everything myself. But you know what that does? Sis, every single time, it means that you end up in a relationship where men don't try. And men don't provide. You are constantly the one doing it. And it's always behind this, oh no, but I'm easygoing. oh nggak apa-apa, gue nggak butuh.
I'm low maintenance.
Ya, low maintenance itu. Gue nggak butuh ini bla 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 bla. And for me,
Yeah, I used to
the
be
pattern
like
has always been I'm always the girl that they meet after they've been in a very high maintenance volatile thing. So I'm like, oh tenang, gue low maintenance. Masalahnya adalah low maintenance dalam sebuah relationship in the end leads to bare minimum, not even bare minimum on the part of your partner. And then you get stuck in that. But then what happens? You're back in a cycle because as the only daughter who does everything, you end up doing everything for yourself and you're thinking, oh, this is normal because I've seen it with my mom and I've seen it with me in that family environment.
Yeah.
Jadinya gue kayak menginternalize this cycle of bullshit yang kayak I'm constantly tired and I'm constantly giving and I'm constantly feeling that I don't get anything for myself. So I thought that was a really interesting one. And the other one was struggle with high functioning anxiety. When I read this, I was like, what the hell is high functioning anxiety? Because like, you know me, you're about all the definitions. And I'm like,
And
what are
the
these
therapy,
labels, girl?
therapy speak.
I don't need to be labeled. And then I read it.
I'm like, give me all the labels. It makes me feel safe. It gives me, I belong somewhere in the DSM of psychology.
Babe. Right. High functioning anxiety is a term for anxiety symptoms in people who are still able to maintain a high level of daily functioning, often appearing successful and in control despite inner turmoil. And I was like, that is literally my life.
Yeah.
Like, you know me, I'm functioning, I'm constantly doing stuff. But inside, it's freaking Krakatoa, babe. It's Krakatoa up in here.
This is so like I'm reading this, and obviously like I feel like, especially previously, I really resonated with that.
Yeah.
I realized I'm actually I have a serious anxiety disorder, and I'm extremely anxious. But the danger of this is that it's so not sustainable. It catches up to you one day, and eventually you run through life, and it's like you don't stop because stopping is just like, it's terrifying. But if you don't choose to do it, it will be done for you.
That's when your body breaks down. That's when you get ill.
Yeah, and like you have complete and utter burnout, and you have like depression that literally traps you, and you can't like break free.
Yeah.
And I think this is going back to the article at the beginning. This is why it's not healthy. It's bad for our
literally.
Yeah. Which means it's the systems in place that are oppressive and putting this burden on and treating boys and girls unfairly from the get-go and letting boys be boys. And
how do you feel like, are there any like examples of how it manifests
for me,
like in your career, in your life?
Well, I feel like, you know, reading this list, for example, assume the role of family glue, right? Like I learned to walk on eggshells. I'm extremely intuitive in reading. I walk into a room, I read the energy in the room. So I'm able to detect like the smallest
like micro expressions,
the change in tone, because my brain is now wired or has been wired to read for danger. And so so now it's like hypervigilance is what I have, and I can jump at the slightest thing. Like someone closes a cabinet door, kaya agak kenceng sedikit aja, gue kayak,
really?
Or like I hear like something break, like it triggers something really, really deep within me where I'm like, I'm on high alert.
Oh, I broke a glass the other day.
It's okay.
I'm so sorry.
But this is the thing, right? Like, so I've assumed the role of the family glue, di mana kayak gue itu harus membaca signal-signal ini karena gue harus bisa mengantisipasi what is happening next. Supaya gue bisa kayak, misalnya gini, okay, like my dad
this makes a lot of sense to me now. In the way that I often think like in our interactions that like, you overthink about too many things, but now I get why. Yeah. So like for example, like my dad would make like scenes in like a restaurant if he didn't like something, misalnya gitu. So I would always jump in to like speak to the waiter or speak to him and try to like calm everything down. And it's like I'm living in this constant state of like, okay, at the edge of my rope gitu kan. Dan gue ngerasa kayak in my daily life, like besides how you're noticing, it's like I'm always feeling like I have to make sure everyone's emotions are good. But which is why, like, I've said this in a different episode where, for example, like, if you get mad at Obi, I can sense it triggers something deep within me, but I'm like, it's okay. Like, I'm learning to be okay with it, that, like, I'm an adult, you're an adult, I don't need to save you. But also, you're not a danger. I'll dash him out the window.
You're not, like, you're not, like, it's, like, I have to, it really infuses everything that I do in my life and how I see everything. Tapi kayak gue itu sekarang harus benar-benar berusaha untuk kayak itu okay, in the moment I get triggered, mungkin gue kayak kaget atau lash out atau gimana, but it's like, okay, this moment is different from all those moments before,
Yeah.
and I'm safe,
Yeah.
and I don't have to be on high alert.
Yeah.
It's gonna be okay.
Oh, babe. Just have a little breaky.
Please.
All right. See you after this break. Almost like not blowing.
ASMR.
How's everyone doing right now?
I'm feeling a little bit better.
Yeah, I actually am.
Yeah, getting that off my chest.
Yeah.
That was a big one.
That's a big one.
So proud of you,
Oh, we were all stressing about this. Like, we all like in the group just like, susah kebawa mimpi, susah tidur.
Yeah. Yeah. But
Let's
now
see.
we're here. It's good.
We're here and we're here to reframe, babes. Because what does it look like to acknowledge all of this daughterhood and a lot of the sucky aspects of it? How do we now go about our lives acknowledging that, but also starting to make life easier for ourselves? I think like boundaries menjadi sesuatu yang cukup life saving sih. Boundaries. But the funniest thing is like when I started like going to like talking therapy and like talking about boundaries and this and that. I lived in it like, what the hell are boundaries? What do you mean you can say no to people? What happens?
Yeah, like
And the one like there's silly little things that I practice to like enforce those no's and boundaries. Like for example, like one time my older brother was like, he knew I was going down like the road and he's like, oh, can you go to the post office for me? And I'm like, no. And his reaction was like, what do you mean no?
did you have anxiety before you said no? You're like,
No. Do you know what?
You're just fed up.
I was fed up, and I was also like, I've been told by my therapist that I need
need
to
to
try
do
this.
this.
So, let me try it. I'm just gonna go. No. The look on his face, and he got really upset, and he might not like me sharing this. Sorry, Abang. It's all part of the process. You're helping people along the way, but and you know him as well.
He's gonna call me, but what the fuck is my sister doing?
I know he probably is, but it was actually a really big thing for me to be able to say no to someone.
Yep.
And because I understand a lot of like my things with my issues with even with my brothers, for example, it does very much come from this place of I see the difference in the way that like my brothers, the way the sons are treated in our house is very different to the way the daughter is treated. And so I know there's a lot of trauma to unpack there, but like saying no, or like even with my mum, because she's always like, oh, you know, I can depend on you, like, you know, you're the one. And I'm like, I get it, but I'm tired. And so my boundaries is not necessarily no, it's I will do it, but in my own time.
Yeah.
And because she's like very like, what do you mean? What do you mean? Do it now? Because she's a very much like get things done now, and she's always getting things out of the way. And I'm like, it will get done, but it will be on my time. And it has been pretty mind blowing to see the reaction of people. And it's not even that it's like a big thing, but for me, it's a really big thing to just be like, tar dulu ya, aku butuh waktu gitu.
Kayaknya untuk orang-orang yang dari dulu their presence and their engagement and their help itu suatu hal yang like taken for granted dan asumsinya adalah you're always going to be like that and you're always going to be available.
Yeah.
To finally set the boundary to give us some space is something that's difficult to do. Tapi yang interestingnya itu untuk melihat reaksi mereka yang kayak nggak terima, right, in your case as well, like nggak terima atau kayak merasa marah, but then it's like you realize something actually wrong has been happening all along, and now it's like you're trying to correct it. Kalau gue ngerasa kayak because like situasinya itu sangat-sangat gimana ya, kayak intense banget with my parents, gue malah ngerasa ada ketakutan kalau misalnya gue set boundaries itu gue dicap anak durhaka karena gue nggak mau kayak self-sacrifice gitu. Ataupun kayak hari ini misalnya dengan gue pretty belak-belakan gitu ngomongnya about my experiences, kayak ada ketakutan juga kayak dicap anak durhaka atau dicap kayak mengumbar aib, but it's like these are actually family systems and family dynamics that are so damaging to children, and they only get perpetuated dan dilanggengkan karena kita takut ngebahas atau ngerasa itu tabu untuk dibahas gitu kan. I remember the first time like my therapist, because my mom, what she used to do all the time was like trauma dump on me. And like trauma dump on me about like things yang it's not my business. You need to tell your girlfriend. or you need to talk to a therapist, or you need to talk to somebody who's an adult
Yeah.
and not me. Even though I am now an adult, I'm still your child.
Yeah.
You know, so I remember like when I literally asked my therapist, like, what do I do if like my mom calls me and she just like blah, 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 kayak nggak pakai intro, nggak pakai babi bu,
Yeah.
langsung kayak coba she's like, just hang up. And the
Wow.
idea of it, it's so simple. She's like trying to regulate her nervous system.
Yeah.
And she was like, yeah, just hang up. And I was like, I can do that.
Wow.
And I was like, but she's gonna call back. Hang up again. Turn your phone in airplane mode. And I was like, I can do that? And she's like, yes. Like, you do what you need to do to
Did you
protect.
do it?
So there was one time.
I'm like, it's like forbidden. Did
and
you
so
do it?
she said, try explaining to her, like, Mom, I don't need to hear this. Mom, I don't want to hear this. Please talk to
Yeah.
someone else.
Yeah.
If she doesn't, then you can hang up. So that's what I did. I was like, Mom, I don't want to hear this. She kept going. She diverted for a little bit and came back to the topic.
Yeah.
And kept going. And I was like, my therapist said I could do this.
How did you feel?
Oh, I was freaking out. Because there were parts of me that were like,
Yeah.
you need to, gitu kan. And I was like, oh my God. But I was just like, no.
Have you ever gotten to the point where you're like, bye, Felicia, and then just do it that way?
I mean, well, you know. Tapi maksud gue kayak, intinya kayak yang terapis gue bilang itu kayak, it's like you need to psychologically train them, because if every time, for example, in my mom's case, gitu, if every time she brings up something that is not my business and I keep hanging up on her, she's gonna learn that she can't talk about that stuff. If she wants to talk to me and she wants to hear my voice and talk for longer, she cannot bring up that stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like, at the end of the day, you know, I understand that like there's this quote, right? Like, oh, be gentle with your parents. It's their first time living too, gitu. And it's like, I get that, but we were children, you know? And at the end of the day, like, it's okay to admit, it's okay to say, like, I know you did the best you can, but you still made grave mistakes.
Yeah.
I know you did the best that you can, but I still came out really damaged.
Yeah.
And like, I'm not trying to blame you and say like, you did this like willingly and knowingly. Mungkin nggak tahu juga kan, but like, in order for there to be like, not rehabilitation, what's the word that I'm thinking of? Repatriasi, salah lagi. Apa? Reconciliation, or like, yeah, in order to be reconciliation, there needs to be like authentic, genuine truth, and an authentic like, okay, I messed up.
Yeah, I think like when we talk about our parents, obviously like there's instances like for you especially, like I couldn't imagine what it is to be like a parentified child, for example. Like I didn't have that experience. My experience wasn't as bad as that, but I do recognize like the constant anxiety and just fatigue that I feel in my adult life gitu. Cuman ada aspek-aspek dari cara aku dijadikan only daughter in my family that makes me actually very happy and proud. Like there are life skills that I learned as a result gitu. Maksudnya kayak, my mom always said to me kayak, you can't depend on anyone. You have to depend on yourself, ini segala macam, which is something I've internalized. Yes, internalizing it sometimes can be in like not, it can be in a negative way, but also it can be in a positive way, in the way that like I've always shown up for myself. And I've always made sure that like I push through, and one thing she always said to me was like, nabung, and like you have to have life skills, and so I'm able to do all of that kind of stuff. The one thing that I'm not able to do though, which I also get from her, is rest and relax.
Yeah.
But you know, like I think there's so many ways that we can, like if we constantly look at the way that we were raised as daughters as like a negative, we will constantly bring that negative energy in everything that we do.
Yeah, and you can't move on from it.
Exactly. How do we like reframe, and how do we like resist that? One thing that I really like, there's two books that I wanna recommend untuk teman-teman. Ada satu book, I actually think after reading it, the title is very misleading because it's called Adult Children of Emotionally Immature Parents.
Okay.
Memulihkan diri dari orang tua yang berjarak, menolak, atau egois. Nah, menurut gue itu buku yang sangat menarik, nggak hanya untuk what's the word? Look at your parents, because I do think it's misleading. When I was reading it, I was thinking about my ex. I was like, God damn! Like, so if you want to know just generally what it is to have like emotional maturity in any relationship, whether it's like a romantic relationship or whether it's with your parents, menurut gue baca buku itu. And then this one was actually written by my friend Vina. It's called Youthquake. Nah, kenapa aku pengen banget rekomend buku ini kepada teman-teman? Karena di sini tertulis pengalaman banyak sekali anak muda tentang isu yang beragam, and a lot of them, it's kind of like a guidebook on how you can overcome these kind of situations. So there's like halaman
It's like a
refleksi
journaling kind of
and
exercise.
all these kind of like exercises, which I feel like these are the tools that we never had when we were kids, but
Yeah.
also this book can be read by parents. Like share these experiences with your parents and with your kids. Kita harus makin banyak membuka ruang dialog ya, nggak cuman apa kata orang tua yang paling benar dan apa yang kata orang tua tuh final say. No,
Yeah.
we have to start encouraging like these two-way dialogues. So we can all learn to understand each other better and to forgive each other and to move forward like with more harmony.
Yeah. I feel like for me, one of the biggest steps in terms of like healing and like being able to transmute the things that I experienced or alchemize it into something good, something different, was first acknowledging that something bad had happened.
Yeah.
And like, it was such a crucial step karena if you grow up in an environment that's chaotic and that's all you know, you think that's normal. And like, but you're carrying things like the body keeps a score at the end of the day, right? Like the body remembers. So if you just like move through life and you don't acknowledge the things that did happen to you, manifestasinya bisa nanti in physical ways, and you're like tiba-tiba sakit ini, tiba-tiba sakit itu, and it's like ini datang dari mana? Tapi sebenarnya semuanya datang dari sumber yang sama, yaitu those horrible experiences as a child. Jadi kayak buat gue, like I'm so lucky to have had access to a therapist yang benar-benar bisa kayak melihat gue dan allowed me a safe space to tell her everything that went on in my life and to have the acknowledgement, to have someone bear witness to the pain.
Yeah.
Itu crucial banget. Dan kayak with like inner child healing modalities and segala macam, to be able to be like, okay, now I'm an adult, ya kan? I don't want to keep reacting like I'm a child. I don't want to keep, because that's what happens with trauma, right? Like you react from the part of your brain or the age where those things happen. So I'm an adult, I don't want to do that anymore. So it's like creating this like bridge between these different parts of me from the past.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think like having gone through this, I feel like we're in a better position to know like if we have children, inshallah, one day, how we would want to.
How would you want to raise your daughter?
I would want to raise my daughter. No, it's not even my daughter. I would want to raise my children exactly the same way. I don't want to, because for me, I felt like it was different between like the boys can do what the girl can do. I want to raise my children with everyone contributing and everyone pulling their weight and everyone learning life skills. Yeah. And also, if I have, for example, like the overprotectiveness that I felt growing up compared to like my brothers who were able to do whatever they want, I would at least like to have a conversation about why there is this overprotectiveness towards girls than there is boys, and involve the boys in on that conversation so they can grow up to be men who don't harass women or who don't, you know what I mean? So I want it to be the same for both. Kalau dari lo?
Yeah, I think that's essentially in the same way where I would want, whether as a boy or a girl, to feel emotionally safe. Like, I think I would make it my mission to protect their, not innocence, but their like childlike wonder, their curiosity about the world. I would want them to feel safe at home first and foremost. And it's not to say like, and this is not a criticism towards any parents out there, right? But like, I think what was detrimental to my development was seeing big emotional ruptures and not seeing conflict resolution. Yeah. And it was just seeing it like brushed under the carpet, right? Yeah. So like, I think it's important to like build emotional resilience in a child and be like, no, the world is hard. You're gonna have conflict.
Absolutely.
It's not like I'm gonna put you in a bubble away from the world. No. Things are hard, but this is how you move through it. And like, I wanna be the kind of person or the kind of parent who can admit when I'm wrong and be like, you know what, I didn't do that right. Yes. You know what, I'm sorry, that wasn't my intention, but I know, you're telling me I hurt you, I believe that, you know.
Oh, babe, I think
we could go on for ages.
But I also feel like it went better than I thought it was gonna.
Really?
Because you know, like it's so interesting. Like, right, we're talking about daughters, but obviously, like sons have an entire other complexity about what it is to be that. And I want to learn more, and I hope that like.
Yeah, what is it like being a son?
Yeah, like pertama kayak, isn't it wonderful to be able to have a space where we can talk about this kind of stuff? Dan semoga kayak itu bisa di-replicate ke teman-teman yang lain yang of other genders, of other experiences. Karena at the end of the day, like I think so much so of being a daughter and why it's tiring is because you guys aren't aware of like the emotional and physical load and toil
The
that it has on
labor.
us. So like, help us out, bros. Shout out to the boys who actually do pull their weight and help us
Yeah,
out. Or shout out to the ones who actually are emotionally mature enough
Yeah.
to understand and navigate this life without making us feel like we are completely alone.
Alone.
Yeah. Babe, we did it.
That's a big one out of the way.
Dance break after this.
Yes, absolutely. Well, thanks for sitting with us today.
Yes.
I hope it was helpful.
Yeah, I hope it was helpful. Let us know what you think in the comments. Maybe you have your own experiences of what it's like to be a daughter. And as usual, like, subscribe, and engage with us
Yes.
because that's what you have to do according
Yeah.
to the world of the digital algorithms and
Yeah.
everything.
To all the daughters out there, we just want to let you know that we see you.
Real recognize real, baby.
Real recognize you.
See you next time.
See ya.
Take that. Big girl, when I come, take that.